Good Wednesday morning. This is the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. This morning, you can check us out on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I'm your host, Colin Worthington. We are continuing our series of interviews with individuals that have qualified for the May 24th general primary election here locally. On Monday, we had an interview with the U.S. Senate candidate. Yesterday, we interviewed a gentleman who is running for the 6th District seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. And today, we're speaking with a gentleman who's running for the District 4 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. He's challenging Steve Fuller. Steve Fuller's had that seat for about 4 years. One complete term will be at the end of this year. My guest this morning, his name is Will Godbee. He's qualified as a Republican, which with Steve Fuller being a Republican as well, it means that seat will be determined in May rather than waiting for the general election. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Colin?
I'm doing great, and good to meet you in person finally.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on qualifying.
Yes, sir.
For this race. And people may know, I don't know how you're going to feel about this if I bring it up a couple times on the program. People may notice you're a younger man than what we typically have as far as candidates for these local races. And I did a story about 2 weeks ago mentioning that the youngest person to ever win an election here locally would have been Trent North. I don't know if he won it or not. I don't know if anybody else ran at that point, but he was 24 years old. Was he 24? Was it 22?
I believe that's what you said.
24? Yeah. Thus, if you were to win this race, you would be the youngest to sit on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. So, tell us about that. You know, when I say you're a young man, how does that make you feel?
Yes, sir. I am young, but I believe that that opens up some new ideas and new perspectives that I could bring to the board. I don't believe that my age really affects my ability to educate myself and do research to bring forth to the Board of Commissioners. I think that my age would actually be a good thing because it'll encourage other young people to get involved in county politics and government.
And you talk about how important it would be to have a younger perspective maybe on things. So look, I think Clint Chance is the next youngest on the board at 42, and then Michelle Morgan is 15. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, our young people are the future of our community, you know, and we need a voice at the table, as I like to say, so I think I could bring that. So,
well, tell us about the decision. Qualifying was 2 weeks ago. I think, let's see, it looked like Steve Fuller, the incumbent, he qualified maybe on Monday, and then 2 days later, your name popped up.
Yes, sir. Well, I've honestly been thinking about running since I was about 15. It's not really something that most people at that age are thinking about, but I have been just because I was around public service and with my dad being a deputy and my grandfather being a commissioner when I was a kid. So I've always thought, you know, I would like to serve my community and be a public servant. So I that night before, you know, we were just sitting at home and I had been discussing it with some of my friends and family, and they all said, yeah, you know, if you think you want to do it, let's try. So ever since that night, I went and qualified the next morning, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Will Godbee, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. He's a candidate for District 4 on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. If you're elected and you go into these meetings and, you know, you're part of the group for 6 or 7 months and there's an issue, an issue brought up before the board, what do you think your specialty would be when they're, if there's an issue brought forward? What would your specialty be? What would they go to you for your opinion first, do you think, your direction?
Well, I've been around, my dad has several different businesses, and my grandfather's a businessman as well, been in Carroll County for, you know, our entire lives. And so I believe that I could bring some business sense to the board. Basic economics, you can't spend more than you make. So I think that that's something that I could specialize in. I've also been around the grading industry, so when they're buying new equipment and things like that, I have knowledge in that area or field. So I believe that's what I could bring to the board.
Now, you're a University of Georgia student right now, expected to graduate
in
May? Is it?
May 13th, yes, sir.
And you go up there and walk the stage and everything?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Talk about your major and how you got into that, how you picked that.
Well, I'm a political science major at the University of Georgia. I graduate May 13th. with a bachelor's in political science, and it kind of falls in a line with why I want to be in public service as well, because I hope to attend law school eventually and maybe become a judge in our county in the future. And it's something that I've always wanted to do. I worked in the clerk of court last year during the summer and worked in the solicitor's office, so I kind of got used to that and around that. So it's just something that I've always been interested in.
What do you think of the clerk of courts? Is that guy all right?
Mr. Alan Lee?
Alan Lee, yeah.
Yes, sir. He's a great fellow.
Yeah. Our guest this morning, Will Godbee. He is running for the District 4 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. How much did the District 4 change after the maps were redrawn after the census?
I'm honestly not sure how much it changed, but I have been studying it and looking over it and trying to get and familiarize myself with it. It includes much of Clem, Oak Grove, Old Camp area, back around Maple Street and throughout the city, Bonner area, and back across 16 and the bypass. But I think it includes more of the city now than it used to, which changes the dynamics of the voters as well, and what they want, So I think that it's a little different than it has been in the past.
See, in the past, you think it was unique more because it was rural, but now you have to consider different opinions. And I hate to say that anybody in Carroll County is too much different than
yes, sir.
In Middle Carroll County than Southern Carroll County, but there will be some different perspectives and things that you'll have to deal with, different
yes,
ideas. What is unique about District 4, do you think? What separates it from the other districts? And I guess what's an example of things you'll have to consider when you're making votes or answering phone calls?
I think that District 4 is probably the most unique because it includes so much of the rural area in Clem and Oak Grove, and it includes the city. And, like you said, it's not that much different in perspective, but people do have different ideas about growth and where they want things to be built, and as well as keeping the rural areas rural. So I think that's the most unique part about the district.
Before we take our first break here, Will, give me an idea of your philosophy about government. What do you think the role of government is? Maybe as a Carroll County Board of Commissioner, what would your role be?
The role of being a Carroll County Board of Commissioner is to represent the people. If they have any issues, I would be happy to speak with them and, just have an open door policy. As an elected official, that's what you're doing. You're serving the public. So if there are any needs, questions, comments, concerns, I would be happy to talk and communicate with them about that.
In talking with commissioners over the years, I kind of get the idea that for some of them, maybe that they end up spending more time doing the job than they thought. Maybe they didn't realize how many phone calls they'd have to answer and things they'd have to follow up on. Is that something you're willing to commit to as far as how much time you could spend on the job, and how much time could you give to it? Is it a 20-hour-a-week job, you think? Or
absolutely. I think I would have enough time to. I wouldn't have qualified had I not thought I had enough time in my schedule. I think that I will be able to work and be transparent and work and available to the people in my district and the county on any topic, anytime. So I don't think that'll be an issue.
Will Godbee, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. He is one of two candidates running for the District 4 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. May 24th is the primary, so I'm going to guess the second maybe is when early voting starts, May 2nd?
Yes, sir. I haven't looked at that exactly, but I think that's
it's usually about 3 weeks,
close.
And then so that'll have May 2nd is early voting. We will take our first break right now. Come back and continue our conversation with Will, Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be. for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy has offered a challenging college preparatory education for 60 years. With over 500 graduates, we have maintained a 100% college acceptance rate. Over 90% of our students earn acceptance to their first choice of college or university, and over the past 5 years, our students have earned over $10 million in scholarship offers. Our students are creating a legacy. Come, be a part of our family and create your own legacy today. To learn more, visit us at oakmountain.us.
840. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice, News Talk 1330 FM 106.3, streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. I encourage, if you're watching and get a chance to watch during the live portion of this program, feel free to post a question or a comment up there. Again, it's 8:40 in the morning, so if you're able to send a question that way during that time, I will find it and share it with our guest this morning, who is Will Godbee. He is one of two candidates for the Carroll County Commissioner seat representing District 4. What does Carroll County do the best? Carroll County government right now. What's one place where they're doing a really good job, do you think?
I think the one thing that Carroll County does good as a whole is our school system. I think we have one of the best school systems in the state. Great teachers and wonderful, board of education. So I believe that that's one thing that can increase or can influence people to come to Carroll County and want to raise a family here and start here. So I think that's a pretty big portion of why Carroll County is great.
As a commissioner, one of your jobs will be working with an agenda or working with the budget. I'm sorry. What department on the budget would you say we can't cut no matter what? Is there a department where you say, well, we can never cut funding on that?
Well, I think that all Carroll County employees are very important. I've worked with many of them, and there's some great employees in Carroll County. But I would have to say that the most important as far as funding to keep our community safe would have to be the public service, like public safety aspect of the county.
And I think there's a belief that probably is the sole purpose of government, just protection.
Yes, sir.
For some people. So
yes,
that's all the other stuff that people do question. So I'm sure a lot of people would agree with you on that. And also, when determining the budget, you have to consider a millage rate. Consider where it is. So you consider rolling it back to what the government. The state government might suggest if we had an addition of collection, the tax money collected, you could lower it, you could raise it, or leave it the same. What things will you consider every year when you're looking at the budget, considering a change in the millage rate for taxpayers? What's the thought process going to be for you? I
think that depends a lot on the revenue raised and how the year is financially in the county. If we have a good year, then we can lower the millage rate, and if we have a bad year, we might have to do something different. So I believe that I'm not going to say that I would never not raise the millage rate in the county, because sometimes it's necessary. So sometimes you have to do that to make everything balance in the budget in the county. So
our guest this morning is Will Godbee. He's one of two candidates running for District 4 on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. As far as rezoning, that's another big thing that commissioners have to work with and deal with monthly. Tell us about your process, your thought process as far as how you determine whether or not you can tell somebody what to do with their property. Say they come up to you and maybe it could be something that's 2 or 3 constituents say, yeah, we got a problem with changing that. How do you tell somebody who owns a property what they can and can't do with the property they own?
I believe that goes back to the matter of if they're following the county regulations and procedures and processes to complete that rezoning, then I don't see why it should be denied to them. If it's their property that they've owned and paid taxes on for years. My family owns 60 acres out in Clem, and if we wanted to do something on that property, I would be willing to listen, to, of course, our neighbors and how they feel about it. But if it's zoned agricultural and say they want to build some new houses on it, and it falls in line with the comprehensive plan of Carroll County, and then, I believe that you would have to vote for it if it falls in line with that plan. There's plans set aside for Carroll County that determine where growth needs to occur and how that needs to work in Carroll County. So.
But your dad doesn't have plans for a skyscraper or anything like that?
No, we don't plan on selling anytime soon.
I go back to that rock quarry issue that we had in Carroll County last year.
Yes, sir.
When the people who did the rock quarry, when they started out, everything in the zoning was accurate. They didn't need to rezone. They had everything. It was listed that they could build a rock quarry there in theory. And then the county changed that after communications with a lot of constituents. What do you think your role would be in something similar to that? If say you're in your district and and whether you could rezone it, whether they're asking for rezoning or not, or if it's something that may. Because it upset some people in Whitesburg. A lot of people spoke out about it. Once you find out about that going in, what's your responsibility as a commissioner as far as communicating it, or what's your responsibility to the person who owns that property, who, in theory, can do what they want with that?
Yes, sir. I think you have to speak with your constituents, of course, and see how they feel about it. But if the landowner is following proper procedure, I don't see how you can really limit their choice, on what they do on their property. Had the procedures been changed, proactively before this occurred, then maybe instead of a reaction, we would proactively had we could have done something different could have occurred, So I think you have to work proactively on zoning, and instead of acting reactive. So.
Will Godbee, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. And before we do take our second break, you had mentioned your grandfather and your father. Go ahead, tell us about your family, your mom as well, too.
Yes, sir. I'm a sixth-generation Carroll Countian, lived here my entire life. I'm 22 years old. My dad is Jamie Godbee. My mom's Lindsay Pearson. My dad was a deputy for 16 years while serving there. He was an investigator and a sergeant over that time. And my mom, she's a teacher at Whitesburg Elementary. She's taught there 21 years, I believe. And my grandfather was Jimmy Godbee, and he served on the board back in, I believe, 2005 or 4 to 2008, maybe, something like that. So I've been around public service, and I've always, wanted to be involved and help my community and just be a representative for the people in my district as well as the whole county.
Good deal. Good deal. You've already been out campaigning? Have you already been knocking on doors?
Yes, sir, I have.
What have constituents said their concerns are? Have they told you anything new or give you a different idea of things?
I've talked to several different people, and I think their biggest concerns are growth and not wanting to end up like a Douglas County.
We always fall back on that.
I know everyone says that, but there's just no room to breathe in Douglas County, and traffic and everything. So I think the biggest issue when speaking to people in my district has been the growth of our district.
Good deal. All right, we're going to take our final break here and continue our conversation with Will Godbee, one of two candidates running to represent the 4th District on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Again, election day. The primary election is May the 24th, and early voting typically starts about 3 weeks before that. We will come back and continue the conversation. Again, comments and questions, feel free to post them to the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page, and I'll look for those during this break. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy on News Talk 1330.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
As a graduate of Oak Mountain Academy, I've found that my experience on the mountain prepared me beyond all expectations. As a junior at Auburn University, I approached my studies with great confidence thanks to what I learned at OMA. When I think back on my time on the mountain, I think of my teachers. Their genuine love and concern for me as a student was always evident, and now, as an adult, I still foster those relationships. I'm Carly Robinson, an Oak Mountain Academy alum. Visit oakmountain.us to see how you can offer your child an amazing opportunity to be a warrior.
.51. Welcome back to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com. And this morning, we are on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. My guest is Will Godbee, one of two candidates running for the District 4 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. Steve Fuller is the incumbent, and he is also seeking re-election to that post. Well, when I spoke with you a couple weeks ago after you'd qualified, you talked about communication, and Steve Fuller. I don't think he uses social media as much. I haven't seen him online as far as communication. Will that be important to you, communicating through Facebook and all
Absolutely, yes, sir. I've already have a Facebook page set up. It's Will Godbee for the word for FOR District 4 Commissioner, and that's where I've been posting, updates about what I'm doing and who I am. And if you have any questions, you can contact me through that platform as well. Would
you keep that up, that Facebook? I mean,
absolutely.
Through 4 years, and
absolutely
you encourage people to
yes, sir.
To reach out to you. What's something important that I'm reminded how much of Carrollton is in District 4. So I think a little bit's in, as we talked about yesterday, a little bit's in District 6. I don't know if there's any. District 5. Who's the District 5 Commissioner?
Ernie Reynolds.
Okay, yes. I don't know how much city is in that one, but there's a good portion of Carrollton City.
Yes, sir.
Is actually in there. Is it important to work with the city people? They've got city council people, but they're still in your district.
Absolutely. I think communication with the city is a very important topic, because while I've been out campaigning, I've talked to many constituents, and I've said, They always ask, "Am I in your district?" And I say, "Yes, ma'am, you're in my district," or "Yes, sir." And
that's why I'm knocking on your door.
And they say, "Okay, well, I didn't even know we had a county representative." So I feel like there's miscommunication there, and I would like to open that door back up if I'm elected. I would try to attend as many city council meetings as I can, just so that if we have any questions that the city has for the county, that we can communicate through that, and if anyone in the district, in the city needs representation as well, So I feel like I would be open to working with that working through that avenue with the city, and answering and helping them anyway, as well as my constituents in the county.
One of your jobs will be, as we mentioned, working on the budget. Have you worked? Do you have experience working on the budget? Your father owning a business. Have you worked with him? Are you taking math classes? Math 90.
Yes, I've helped my dad. He bids a lot of work, so I've helped him go through his bidding process and how he does that. I've also, my grandfather's an accountant by education, so I've been around that as well, and of course, I've taken all your math classes, required to graduate. So, yes, sir, I think, it's basic economics. You can't spend more than you make, and a county has to be ran that way. So,
do you think taxes are too high in Carroll County?
I believe most people you speak with would say taxes are too high in the county. That doesn't mean that we can lower taxes right off Jump Street, but I believe that there's always things that can be ran more efficiently, and so if elected, I would be willing to look into into all departments of Carroll County, and see if there are some changes that can be made to increase the efficiency in our county.
I asked you earlier what you thought Carroll County was doing good. How about what they're not doing so good? Is there anything that jumps out at you that could be done better?
There's really nothing off the top of my head that I can think of that's just not being ran well. I mean, I think our county employees got an increase in pay over the last few years, which is very good for those people. Like I'm not running for any specific reason other than I feel that it was my calling and my time to get into county politics and government.
And I think it's always important to point that out. I mean, you told me, before the show. I mean, it's like, I've got no issue with Steve Fuller at all. I mean, I hadn't seen anything that is bugging me. You
Yes,
want to
sir.
be part of this.
Yes, sir.
You want to be somebody who helps get things going on in Carroll County. Well, give me a good 1 minute stump speech. So, you are going door to door to people, and when you meet them, what are you telling them? What's the important things that you're trying to get across to them in that 1-2 minutes that you get with them?
So I just introduce myself, tell them I'm Will Godbee, I'm running for District 4 Commissioner, and that I would just like to ask for their vote and their support. And then they usually ask why I'm running, and I tell them, that I'm young, I want to get younger people involved in county government. I want to, bring new ideas and new perspectives to the board. I want to work, with the city of Carrollton, and represent those people as well as protect the rural areas of our county as well, and have the proper growth in the proper locations, the proper growth will lower. If it's the proper growth, it'll lower the tax burden on the people, which I think is a very important point as well, because people my age can't really even afford a house right now. I mean, there has to be some houses, you starter homes built, we have a need for those things for people, my age and a little older than me that can't afford just to go out and buy a $500,000 home. So I think the key things are, proper growth, communication with the city, and just new perspectives and ideas coming to the board.
I don't remember for sure here, but within the last 2 years, I remember Carroll County did not have like a zoning for small houses or for little houses, tiny houses, whatever they call it. The small houses that you can actually
Yes, sir.
take. And does Carroll County need something like that? You think? I mean, a community where you could take those houses. I know there was interest for a little bit. I remember a commissioner, gosh, it might have been 4 years ago, was interested in starting one. I don't know if they did or not, but would that be important? You think have a community where you could zone and have tiny houses?
I think that's something that we could look into because those are more economical for younger people, and they don't they're not that big. But I mean, a young person like me doesn't need that much room either. So I think that's something that we could, if I was elected, I could absolutely look into.
Heck, I don't need that much room either. I think they're kind of cool if you could haul them around. And,
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, Will Godbee, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program. Thank you.
Thank you
for
very
stopping
much.
by.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you. And again, Will is challenging the incumbent Steve Fuller for the Carroll County Board of Commissioners District 4 seat. Election day is May the 24th. Now, tomorrow we have Vicki Anderson coming on the program. She is running for District 6. She's one of 4 candidates in that race. She'll be on the program tomorrow, so I hope you'll tune in at 8:30 for that. Monday, Danny Bailey. He's another candidate for District 6. He'll be on the program. And then the Thursday after that is Debbie Neal, the 4th of the candidates running for that District 6 seat on the Carroll County Board of Commissioners. So I hope you'll turn in for those programs, and we'll remind you that they're coming up. I'll remind you tomorrow after Vicky's show who's coming up on the show. So again, thanks to Will Godbee, and thank you for listening this morning and watching us on the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. Time right now is 8:59. You want to stay tuned for national headlines, followed by local news here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3.